The deeper we get into this election and the more underwater Donald Trump feels, the more reliant upon hate and bigotry and xenophobia and racism he's going to lean. Yesterday, the campaign arm, the rapid response arm of his campaign, so effectively it's him tweeting it. He's responsible. The buck stops here, right? They tweeted a ridiculously racist image along with this text above it. Import the third world, Trump War Room tweeted, become the third world. Along with this image of this idyllic suburban neighborhood with the American flag flying. And that's your neighborhood under Trump, your neighborhood under Kamala. It's disgusting. This is ginning up fear and distrust of other human beings when the fact of the matter is immigrant populations, both illegal immigrants and traditional, through the long, arduous, unduly painful system that we have in this country, they also commit less crime, fewer crimes. Statistically, it's proven, it's fact, it's unassailable than native-born populations. In fact, if you don't know, you're going to know now, and you can share this video with someone who is spewing this hatred and nonsense and fear as a check. This is from Northwestern University. Immigrants are significantly less likely to commit crimes than the U.S. born. Study finds over a 150-year period, immigrants have never been incarcerated at a greater rate than those born in the United States. This has been proved time and time and time again in analysis of data. I've never seen anything like this where they looked at 150 years of statistics, though. This is definitive, unassailable. A study co-led by Northwestern University economist Elisa Yacombe provides the first historic comparison of incarceration rates of immigrants to U.S.-born citizens. Using incarceration rates as a proxy for crime, a team of economists analyzed 150 years of U.S. Census data and found immigrants were consistently less likely to be incarcerated than people born in the United States. They also found, beginning in 1960, that incarceration gap widened such that immigrants today are 60% less likely to be incarcerated than the U.S. born. Quote, our study shows that since 1870, it has never been the case that immigrants as a group have been more incarcerated than the U.S. born, Yacombe said. I'm going to repeat that because it bears repeating. Our study shows that since 1870, it has never been the case that immigrants as a group have been more incarcerated than people born in the United States. It's just what it is. You can't argue with the numbers. It's just what it is. Yacombe is an assistant professor of economics and faculty fellow with the Institute for Policy Research at Northwestern. A multi-university team of economists had previously studied the upward mobility of immigrants and found that children of low-income immigrants tended to be more upwardly mobile than U.S.-born children of low-income families. This should be music to Republicans' ears. Talking about realizing the American dream, talking about upward mobility, merit-based, all the things they talk about. Pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. This should be economic pornography for Republicans. They just love it. They can't get enough of it. But instead, because it deals with brown people, it's scary. We can't have that. Prompted by frequent questions about the impact of immigration on local crime rates, the researchers used data from the U.S. Census to find out whether immigrants were more likely to commit crimes than those born in the U.S. Starting with the 1870 U.S. Census, the first to include the full population, including those formerly enslaved, through the most recent in 2020, which collects data nationwide, including from correctional facilities, the researchers measured the gaps between immigrant and U.S.-born levels of incarceration. Over that 150-year period, they found that immigrants' incarceration rate was only slightly lower than that of U.S.-born men. However, in the more recent time period, immigrants, and listen to this number, this is stark. And another thing, this is a video you're going to want to share, or at least follow the link to this very study in the description and share it. But listen to this. However, in the more recent time period, immigrants are 60% less likely to be incarcerated than U.S.-born citizens and 30% less likely relative to U.S.-born whites. To explain what happened beginning in 1960, Yacombe and co-authors point to globalization and skills-based technological changes as coinciding with the gap. And then finally, quote, a surprising finding was the extent to which immigrants with lower levels of education today are significantly less to commit crimes than their U.S.-born counterparts. The facts don't lie. But Republicans, they don't like the facts. They want to bend and twist and gin up people's fear about crime from black people, scary black people, and even more scary black people who are immigrants. Otherwise, why would they share racist imagery like this? I mean, the only thing that could make it more racist is if there's a white family having a picnic on the porch as the juxtaposition grows even more stark. Gross. At the hand of Donald Trump. The more desperate they get, the more they're going to lean into this nonsense. Racism. Vile bigotry that has no place in a civilized society and no more place in the United States. We should be over this after our horrific history and pattern of abuse of native populations, the indigenous, black and brown people, Asians in this country. White supremacy needs to die a painful death. What do you think? I would love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. And of course, you can just leave a comment below. That'll trigger the YouTube algorithm to share my content with new viewers, and that would be great. You can also think about it. If you're into it, no pressure. Help me create these videos. Help me produce these videos. Click the join button below. See what's involved to become a channel member. For $2 a month, you can do just that. Help me make them. And you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I am on the social media at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And man, I mean, look, part of this makes me happy because the more they lean into this, the more it hurts them, I believe. I think on the whole, people are good and decent and they're turned off by this nonsense and the fear tactics aren't going to work. Anyway, I love and appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your engagement. Thanks for your activism and your passion for making the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.